Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. This is another Lost in the Pond reaction, and this one is 9 things Americans do that Brits don't. Now this is going to be an interesting one. I saw in the thumbnail, I think it was like a drink with ice, lots of ice in it or something. So I assume that's one of the things, how in America, like basically drinks have a lot more ice when you get served them at like restaurants and stuff. And I've been told that, I've seen in the comments people have mentioned that before, like our drinks are so big because we have ice and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I do really enjoy Lost in the Pond reactions and the videos that he does. They're just always fun to sort of look at, and people always seem to really enjoy my reactions. But if you don't know about him, links in the description for his channel. If you do want to find him, I think you should. Or if you do want to watch his channel on your own, I think you should, because his videos are very good. But yeah, man, let's just get into this one. 9 things Americans do that Brits don't. I'm interested to see some of these things. Hopefully, I don't know a lot of these. And yeah, let's just see some of the differences.
Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to the things we do as people. It turns out that there are just things that people in one country do that the people in the other country do not do. And today we're going to take a look at 9 things that Americans do that Brits don't, and take that title with a grain of salt, okay? It's very much a generalization. Of course, many of the things on this list probably are practiced by some people, some pedants over in Britain. I said pedants, not peasants. But for the most part, on the whole, generally speaking, how many other ways can you say that? Americans do these things more than Brits. Now, if I'd have done this list maybe 12 years ago before I moved to the United States, there are some things I would have included that have since caught on in Britain. So, you know, baby showering or queuing up for the Black Friday sales or getting a coffee to go. So since there's more of a level playing field in regard to those things, I'm just going to leave them off the list. And given that we're all presently trapped in our bunkers, even the ones that did make it onto the list probably shouldn't temporarily, including this. Smiling at strangers, which I suppose is what I'm doing to you right now, so...
I could never, bro. I'm not gonna lie, I barely look at strangers when I walk about, man. I'm keeping myself to myself. The rare occasion I do look at someone, I'll probably just look like I'm the angriest person in the world. I'm gonna be honest, I hate looking at strangers across the street. I'm a weird guy. I just keep myself to myself.
And you know what? I think when I first encountered this is when you're walking along, say, a footpath, or you're in a parkway, and someone you've never met, maybe they've got a dog, they just look at you and smile. It sounds creepy when I put it like that, and at first it was. I thought I was going to get mugged, right? British people value their personal space, right? Don't enter that zone. And so whenever that happened, it was a little off-putting, but I got used to it when I realized that Americans are just really friendly, and this is a good thing, right? And so I not only came to embrace this, but I started doing it myself, and you know, people got a bit creeped out by the British teeth. I can't help that. It's just something I'm born with, and so you're gonna have to
at least I've got good teeth.
I must say that during this sort of weird situation we find ourselves in, if anybody smiled at me while I was going out to take the trash out, I'd run for the hills. We don't have hills in Chicago, so I'd be lost. Similarly, which is a word I had to say about 10 times before I got right, Americans might greet you not only with a smile, but by saying, "How are you?" or "What's up?" And these don't mean, you know, "Are you okay?" or anything like that. It just means hello, right? And it's, in a way, it's sort of similar.
To be fair, I don't really... I guess he's probably referring to, again, a lot of British people. I feel like it's probably an older generation type thing. I don't really greet my friends like that. I'll be like, hey, yo, what's up? Are you good? Or like something like that. Maybe if it's someone I don't know, I'll be like, hello. Be a bit more sort of polite or whatever it is. So maybe in that term of things, that's probably what he's saying. But I don't know, maybe this is like more of an older generation thing in the UK. I don't really know.
It's how we Brits say, all right. And we're not asking if you're okay. We're simply saying hello. So
okay, so he is saying that.
In many ways, there are similarities between the two. I don't really know why that is. Are we just trying to soften and euphemize the word hello in the same way that we would with death or going to the toilet? It's really odd when you think about it, but we both do it. Should I start my videos with, all right, I'm Lawrence, and no, I won't do that. What I will do is go on to our next entry.
Fly the flag.
Yes, flags. I did talk about this in a video just recently that, American families and houses and things like that are very prone to having the flag flying outside. And I found that it really doesn't matter which party you vote for or anything like that. People will still fly the flags regardless of that, particularly on July the 4th. But you will see it at all times of year on numerous houses. And that's not to say that we don't fly the flag in Britain.
Maybe I'm wrong with that. I think that it seems like a really bad thing to do in the UK. Is flying flag in Britain. Again, I might be completely off of this, so please. No permission is needed to fly the national flags, and they are excluded from most planning and advertising regulations. But flagpoles may not be. National flags should never be flown in a worn or damaged. Wait, what? Or when sold, to do so is to show disrespect. Wait, what? What's the law on flying England flags during? Yeah, during the World Cup. Oh, so they made it. Okay, I don't really fucking know, to be honest. I'm guessing it. I don't know, but it's a lot more sort of. It's a touchy subject here. And again, I'm not one of those sort of patriot type people, but it's just interesting how that is a sort of a thing that's.
But we usually reserve that for very special occasions like football matches, which are very special occasions these days.
Like you mentioned,
there's just sort of maybe there's more pride in the flag here, or it symbolises so much more, and therefore it gets used. And when I say it symbolises so much more, I mean it really does. You've got the 50 stars representing each of the 50 states, and then you've got the 13 stripes representing each of the original 13 colonies.
There is actually a lot of
So
history
it's symbolic
behind it,
in many ways,
honestly.
and it's
than
part of the lexicon. Even you've got words like Old Glory, Stars and Stripes, and things like that. And so it's just it's a very pervasive part of American culture. Date formats. Again, I've spoken about this before on the channel, but it's very much worthy of inclusion because when I first moved to the United States, it was very hard for me to get out of my head the British way of writing the date, which is to put the day first, the month second, and then the year. So it's sort of in order of unit, right? The smallest entity, the day, the second smallest, and then the third smallest, the year. Or is it to the largest? It's so hard to word that correctly without confusing yourself. I'm not a mathematician, and that was evident in my early days of trying to get my head around the American date format. It's not hard. I mean, you obviously just switch the day and the month around, but it's that thing you've known all your life. You're having to unlearn what you'd already learned. And eventually, working in an office every day for 5 years, the American way of doing things really did sort of cement itself in my head, and I came good on that front. And I think now if I were to move back to Britain, it'd be the other problem, and I'd have a hard time adapting. And if I tell everybody that my birthday is 11/18/1981, they'll think I invented 6 more months, and will kick me out of the country again for forgery. That's not what that means. Falsehoods, just general falsehoods. Oh, and while I'm on the subject of birthdays, that brings me on to our next entry. Tailgating was such an alien concept to me when I first moved to America, and in many ways it still is, and that's mainly because I don't own a truck or go to sports events, because that's what happens. When I talk about tailgating, I'm not just talking about, when you drive too closely behind another car. I'm talking about that kind of thing that Americans do at sports events outside of sports stadiums or anywhere else where they can park it, and they just casually light a barbecue and drink beer. And I mean, they look fun. It's just I've never been invited to one, so pity me. Come on, feel sorry for me. It's never happened. The best you're going to get outside of sports stadiums in Britain is people selling pirated DVDs. I've just realised actually those pirate DVD sellers they're probably struggling right now because A, there's a pandemic on, and B, no one uses DVDs anymore. Actually, I suppose nobody is doing our next entry, including me, so I'm going to leave this to Lawrence from Christmas to explain.
Refill drink.
Anybody that's followed my channel now for a while will know that I have feelings on free refills. In fact, I did an entire video about it. And while they are all the rage here, and of course you'll find them in most fast food outlets and other places, there is one clarification I have to make here. You will find free refills as an option in places like Subway in the United Kingdom.
Yeah,
so in some capacity, true. America has exported it, but it is by no means...
Some restaurants, there's a restaurant called Nando's here, they have free refills. I don't know if anyone's even heard of it. But I mean, in general, it is like a thing that you don't get like free refills at all. You just have to buy another drink, which is good and bad, has its pros and cons, right? But free refills does sound banging, man. Does sound good, bro. I'm not even gonna
As
lie.
universal in the United Kingdom as it is in the United States. And as I've said before, I think the temptation of knowing that I could get a free cup of pop on top of the one that I've already had is what made me give up pop in the first place. So I do have that to thank America for. Of course, if you are American and you have the willpower to stay away from the free refills, more power to you.
I didn't drink fizzy drinks for like 2 years.
Free
Now I'm starting
refills
to drink
or
them again,
not,
and I really regret
you know,
it.
Americans do
Really do.
like their water to be very cold, and I'm not talking about their bath water. Can you imagine having an ice bath? Do they? That is weird. But they put lots of ice in their water occasionally, and you'll find this happening in restaurants, but people will do it in the comfort of their own home.
Sometimes I do this in my place when it's hot, when it's like summer. You have to do it, bro. Like you just need something to cool you down more. But I guess again, American culture is a lot
Too,
more.
and this was
a lot
somewhat
more
of an
common.
alien concept to me before I moved to the US. I think maybe it's because we live in a mildish climate in Britain. We don't feel the need to do that. And the water in Britain tends to come out of the tap quite cold anyway, so that usually suffices. But actually, I have come to appreciate this one because during the summertime in Chicago or previously where I lived in Indiana, you know, it gets very, very hot. Sometimes it can get over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you go out for a run in that weather, and that's not me, I don't run. But if you do, you're going to perspire like crazy, right? So not only do you need just water in general, it is nice to have it with ice in it.
Please correct me if I'm wrong. Is it true that if you have hot water, it actually cools you down more? I don't know where I've got this from. Does it cool your body down? I don't know why. To my head, it just sounds so stupid, but I swear I've heard about it, and I just want to know if anyone knows the answer to that.
Because it cools you.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm looking up now. I need to see this. Oh. Hot water. Cool you down. The answer in short is yes, a hot drink can cool you down, but only in specific circumstances. If you drink a hot drink, it does result in a lower amount of heat stored inside your body, provided the additional sweet that's produced when your drink is hot can evaporate. I guess it depends, like you said, it says, on the circumstances, and it probably still isn't better than cold drinks for hot days.
Down. Like it's ice cold, and you're catching your breath because it's going so dry from all the heat. They'll even buy bags of ice here in America. You can actually buy bags of ice.
You can do that
from
here
the
as
store,
well.
and
You can do that here
I
as
still
well.
don't know why people do that. I know because you have ice trays and you put them in the freezer. Am I missing something?
Same.
So that you can have ice for a party.
Oh right, like a tailgating party, or just generally a party.
Any party.
Any party in the summer.
Or winter.
Who has ice in the winter? I mean, in the drink.
Floridians?
That's true. Is it even winter in Florida, though, when it's winter here?
Yes, but no.
Not the same. This one seemed really strange for the first few months of living in America. People going out to the store in their pajamas and sweatpants and things like that. It's as if they don't care about what they look like while, you know, traversing Walmart, which I can understand. It's not really something you'd find back in Britain. I'm not saying we dress our Sunday best to go shopping, but we at least make an effort.
Yeah, I just wear like trackies or tracksuit bottoms, whatever you call them in the US. Which is kind of my pajamas in a
And a
sense.
t-shirt, you know. You will see people going out in their gym jams, their jammies, PJs, right? And
Jeez.
I'm not exempt from that, especially right now. I mean, I don't care what I want people to avoid me, so of course I go out in my pajamas or anything. I went out in this the other day. These aren't my pajamas. That's just me looking like a Sith Lord, a dime store Sith
Looks like
Lord,
some
but
pink
nonetheless a
fucking
Sith
wires,
Lord.
bro.
And I suppose in many ways it speaks to that American tendency toward comfort. But this is not just a pandemic era thing. I mean, people have been doing this for centuries, probably.
Pajamas?
Yeah.
I feel like that started in the 90s.
So there weren't people going in the 19th century going out with their sort of sleeping cap on and things like that to their local blacksmiths or whatever. That's it. Thank you for watching this episode of Lost in the
The
Pond.
local
Don't forget to
blacksmiths,
follow me
fuck's sake.
right here on YouTube so that my videos don't get lost in the pond. What are you laughing at? I know, it looked like a crotch chop. I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, so if you liked what you saw here...
Yeah, shout out to his YouTube again. If you haven't checked him out, please do. His videos are really, really interesting and just fun to watch. So does his Twitter and all that kind of stuff. But let's see some of the comments. In America, acknowledging the presence of a stranger is pretty much required. The rule is, if you make eye contact, you must acknowledge their existence at least non-verbally with a smile or a nod. If you don't, you're being rude. Sometimes I'll nod. I said before I sort of keep myself to myself, but sometimes I would kind of like give a nod. I don't know though. I am just quite. I just look at the floor on my phone when I'm walking, or if there's no one there, I'll look forward. I don't know, I'm weird. Smiling at strangers, you're a townie. Us country Brits always smile and wave. You call it pop. You are in the Midwest. Sometimes it gets over 100 degrees. Sometimes people in Arizona burst into hysterical laughter. Hysterical, I can't read. If my drink isn't cold enough to freeze a man for 1,000 years, it's undrinkable. Smiling in public, how are you as a greeting? Welcome to outside London. Please enjoy the countryside, pure air and polite people. People never go to the stores in their PJs in the UK. Never been around Council Estate early in the morning, I see. Yeah, that is a thing here, to be fair, when you think about it. As an American born and raised, I will never go into public in pajamas. It gets very hot in Chicago and Indiana. Me and Georgia, that's cute. Bags of ice are used in coolers of soft drinks or beer too in summer for barbecues, camping, tailgating. But yeah, this is another really interesting video. Let me know your thoughts on this. Some of the differences maybe you don't agree with and all this kind of stuff. And some more differences that maybe you know that I would be interested in knowing about. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. Until next time, like, subscribe.